I know people who aren't going through a crisis, yet still feel empty inside. Everything works, their job, their family, their routine, but something inside has lost its meaning, and they don't really know when it happened. We're in Cana of Galilee, a small village in northern Israel, where 2,000 years ago a wedding took place that no one would remember if it weren't for the fact that Jesus was there. And in the middle of the celebration, something awkward happened. They ran out of wine. It wasn't a national tragedy, it wasn't an illness, nor was it a loss. Still, it was the place where Jesus performed his first public miracle. What they had just wasn't enough. In that culture, that wasn't a minor detail. It was public shame. It was a social failure. They were left without joy right in the middle of the celebration. Because a lot of us go through the same thing, we just don't call it that. There are times in our lives when you run out of wine on the inside. You run out of patience, you run out of motivation, you run out of hope, you run out of the strength to try again. And yet you keep going. You do what you have to, you reply to messages, you smile when you're supposed to, but inside you feel empty. And Jesus didn't leave. He didn't give a sermon. He didn't ask why they hadn't planned better. He acted. And what he brought wasn't just more of the same, it was something completely new. That tells us something about how God works. He doesn't show up when everything's destroyed. He comes when what you had is no longer enough, when the strength that used to work for you just isn't enough anymore, when you smile but haven't truly felt anything in a long time. That quiet miracle happened at a party for regular, everyday people. Only a few people realized what had happened, but the blessing was enough for everyone at that wedding. Jesus steps in just when the joy is running out. He doesn't fill the emptiness with pretty words. He brings something new when the old just isn't enough anymore. Not so that everything stays the same, but to show that with him, when something runs out, it's not necessarily the end. Has something run out for you? Just invite him in, because we learned that Jesus doesn't need much to get started. He just needs you to open the door right where everything ran out. What Jesus did at that wedding, he can do in your life too. These are words of life. Jesus performed this first miracle in Cana of Galilee. This was the way that he demonstrated his power, and his disciples put their faith in him. John 2:11.
When my strength can't carry me, when my faith and all my faith begins to shake, when I smile for everyone, but something inside breaks, there's a silence that weighs heavy, there's a thirst I can't define. And in the middle of my dryness, you choose to step inside. You don't ask me to pretend, you don't demand I try again. You enter when there's nothing left and fill what's empty there. In my dryness, you are life. In my emptiness, you're enough. nothing else remains. Do it again. Turn the water into wine. Turn this heart of stone. What is dried inside of me?